So, Rob, your general interest blog is historyasYouExperiencedIt.com.
Very good.
What other lessons have you learned from a general interest blog?
Well, because I'm writing about history, it doesn't go stale. And a great thing I learned is I'd gone through 1 year. I was getting nervous because I was thinking that there was that pressure to keep publishing, which I do as I come up with new ideas. However, what I have written in the past, it has been getting more and more traffic because it's there, and whether it's now or 20 years from now, the JFK assassination, the facts are there, and so another aspect. This has to do with how Google does its or places you. The longer your blog has been around, the higher you go in their ranking. It has something to do with their algorithm. So that was fascinating to discover. So my traffic is continually rising, and it's just because of the nature of Google, and also the great interest in history and nostalgia. It turns out that's a really hot item in blogs.
You have a very specific niche audience blog called ZeitGAYst.com. Can you talk a little bit about what made you decide to launch a second blog and differences with your general interest blog?
Sure. And just so not to confuse people, it's ZeitGAYst as opposed to ZeitGAYst. So it's G-A-Y, not G-E-I-S-T. One of the limitations of my general audience history blog was the fact that the premise was I had to remember what I was doing. So there was always I had to be part of it. So that was limiting. So I thought, well, let's have one where I don't necessarily have to be part of it. And I've always kept a lot of information about quirky pop cultural things that have occurred, and I found probably because I'm gay, a lot of them had to do with like topics that would be very interesting to gay people, and then I realized, being creative, almost any event you could come up with a gay angle. So I thought that would be a fun way of presenting information, and so that's what I've done. And because of that, I'm able to generate a lot more content. For my history blog, I write about two blogs a week. With the ZeitGAYst, I'm writing 4 or 5 a week. So there's a lot more freedom when you're not tied to it personally. Even though a lot of these events, I pipe in what I remember, what I was doing.
So with ZeitGAYst, it's a niche topic, but it's not really niche. You've positioned it in a very unusual and interesting way.
Right. Because of the topics I'm writing about are very, of interest to anyone. I write about Madonna. I write about the Super Bowl. I've written about Barry Manilow.
All on ZeitGAYst.
Yes. That it doesn't scream out, "This is gay." Like my most recent post that I sent out was about Seinfeld, the episode where Jerry and George were mistaken as being a gay couple. That show was a huge hit with the general population, so it doesn't mean you're gay. It's not self-selective. So I think that's why it's been doing very well.
And you highlight cultural touch points.
Yes. So it's a lot of fun. So it's like, occasionally I do talk about serious issues. I talk about AIDS. I talked about the Kinsey report, about various ACT UP demonstrations. So I'd say probably 2/3 light pop culture, but a third does touch upon serious things.